Hola, friends.
How are you? How's your week been?
Are you asking me or the listeners?
The listeners.
Insert a couple second pause for you guys to answer.
Oh, that's great. I'm glad you had a good week. Or we gotta do, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. That really sucks.
Yeah.
I hope
it gets better.
Right. You like our false sense of sympathy there?
I was being genuine.
Oh, okay. Well, today we're going to talk to you a little bit about a topic that we have both been really excited about since the beginning of our conversations on podcast topics.
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot to shut that door.
It's fine. Daniel's not here to be loud.
But this has been on the top of our list, and we wanted to talk about it. I kind of hoped that we would be able to take a research trip before we did it, but no one said that we can't revisit a topic.
For sure.
And to be honest with you, this topic could be very easily multiple episodes.
Oh, yeah, because there were definitely, like, things that, like, I picked, and I was like, this needs its own episode.
For this is one of those episodes where we pick a place to talk about.
Yeah.
For this place to be a place that I've only been to once in the entirety of my life.
I've never been.
I'm so passionate about it.
I've never even been to this state.
I love this city.
I love the idea of this city.
I'm sorry. It was making me nervous. I had to shut the door. I just knew Daniel was going to, like, walk in and, like, shit his pants or something.
He's changing my oil. He's probably piddle farting around somewhere.
And she legit means changing her oil and not any kind of insinuation.
It's like, it's 8:50 at night. He's changing my oil.
So we're going to talk to you a little bit about New Orleans.
New Orleans. I'm excited.
I love New Orleans. I love the culture. I love just the overall feel.
Yeah.
I love the music. I love the food. I love...
The vibe gets me hyped.
Yes. I love everything about it.
I've, like, romanticized it in my head, so I'm afraid that if I actually go, I'm going to be disappointed.
I think it's dirty. It is.
I've heard it smells like pee-pee.
But so does downtown Nashville. So...
downtown Nashville smells like weed.
Well, true. But New Orleans there's a lot of places in it that are just absolutely gorgeous. The Garden District is absolutely beautiful.
It is on my bucket list.
I love it.
I still want to go.
I love it so much. I was like 15, 16 when I went.
Yeah.
And it was such a cool experience. I have done a lot of research into this place. My husband and I were supposed to take a trip back, what was it, like April?
It was like, it was right at the beginning of COVID.
Yeah, April of 2020-ish. And we ended up having to cancel because of COVID.
Yeah.
But I am definitely, everything about this city just calls to me.
Yeah.
The spookiness, the witchery. Like, it's definitely a place, and I try to explain to my husband, when you go...
And it also seems very French, which I've always been kind of intrigued with.
It's like that Creole French, though. Like, it's not hoity-toity French.
No.
It's that Creole good old boy French.
It's not Marie Antoinette.
Right.
It's more like...
Marie Laveau.
Yeah.
But, when you go there, it's like one of those places where you don't make eye contact with people, and not in a bad type of you make eye contact with somebody, you're gonna get mugged. That's possible.
But that's cool, because I think I'm a little autistic, and I don't make eye contact anyway.
Well,
so
but
it's okay.
It can be seen as a sign of disrespect for a lot of people.
Yeah, in a lot of cultures, that is a thing.
For somebody like me who is very sensitive to things and have somewhat similar beliefs to a lot of the people there.
Yeah.
We're not making eye contact with people because I don't want to seem disrespectful by any stretch of the imagination. But we're going to talk to you a little bit today about New Orleans, and we'll definitely come back and revisit New Orleans as a whole.
Oh yeah, there's so much
there's so much.
Even though we have 3 hours to record,
we don't want to
I don't think y'all want to sit there and listen to us like fangirl over New Orleans for 3 hours.
I'm going to talk to you. I'm going to start us off. Talk to you a little bit about voodoo.
Yeah,
voodoo is something that's always intrigued me. It's not necessarily something that I want to partake in.
Right.
Because it's a lot.
And I feel like it's one of those, if I'm not mistaken, a closed practice.
I think so. I'm not positive on it.
But just to err on the side of caution, I'm just not going to... Yeah. I'll admire.
Right. I'll learn about it.
Yeah.
I'm just not going to partake. But we're going to talk to you a little bit about voodoo. Kind of get the inside scoop on it a little bit. And honestly, I could probably dig and get more information on it for another episode another day. But voodoo is it's very present in that city. Like you've got all the little shops.
I've even got cause Danny's oldest brother went on a trip not long before he passed away, and I've got one over there in the corner in a little voodoo doll. It's just one of the mass produced, and I've got another hanging on the wall in a little bag. It says New Orleans voodoo dolls, just so you know it's authentic,
right? Voodoo was brought to Louisiana by West African slaves. They combined all of their religious rituals and practice with the local Catholic population. So voodoo is kind of like a meshed together hodgepodge of things.
Yeah.
It's also known as voodoo Catholicism, New Orleans voodoo, and you're going to hear me say that because it's very specific. New Orleans voodoo is a religion connected to nature, spirits, and ancestors. So in my brain, that reminds me of the show The Originals. I'm a huge fan. I was not a big fan of Vampire Diaries.
Yeah.
But I love the originals, and I have watched it a million times.
Yeah.
Because it shows the witches side of things, too. Mm-hmm. And they are and which I know it's a TV show, it's not all accurate, whatever.
Right.
But it's very ancestor-based, and that's ancestry and roots is a big thing to me. This religion grew tremendously when followers fleeing Haiti after the slave revolt of 1791 moved to New Orleans and grew as many free people of color as they could get and made its practice a very important part of their everyday life and culture. Voodoo queens and kings were spiritual and political figures of power in the 1800s New Orleans. Mm. The core belief of New Orleans voodoo is that one God does not interfere in daily lives, but spirits do.
Yeah.
And I love that idea.
Mm-hmm.
It's just hard for me to fathom that one God.
Right. And I think that's where I think I have shifted from being I've considered myself a total atheist for years.
Right.
And I think I have shifted from that being how is there anything else?
Right.
To it can't just be us, but I don't think it's just one dude. Because if it's just one dude, he is an evil man.
Right. Now, don't come at us.
Yeah, I mean, that's just my personal belief.
Right.
And I'm not telling you that, if you don't believe that, then you're wrong. I think, whatever comforts you and gets you through and whatever, that's what
makes this world go round is people of different walks.
Yeah, if we all believed the same thing, it would be awfully boring around
stupid.
Here. Yeah.
But the connection with these spirits can be obtained through various rituals such as dance, music, chanting, and snakes.
I don't fucks with snakes.
I've been toying with the idea of a pet snake for a minute.
Mm-mm. Nope. I mean...
Today you can still find things such as gree dolls, and we'll go back and touch on those later on, because that is a whole thing in and of itself that I want to research more, is gree dolls, gree bags, potions and talismans in stores and homes throughout the city. You can find these things there, which this is just a reminder that the New Orleans fascination with spirits, magic, and mystery. Voodoo practices include readings, spiritual baths, prayer, and personal ceremony. It's used for, you ready for this? To cure anxiety, addictions, feelings of depression or loneliness, as well as to help the poor, hungry, and the sick. So, voodoo has gotten a very bad rap.
Yeah.
When you think voodoo, you kind of get a sense of negative.
Right.
But it's really meant for to be helpful.
Yeah.
It's not an evil thing.
Right. And as I've, like, grown and learned more things, and I think there's a lot of practices that, have been labeled as evil and satanic when they weren't.
Well, and you've always got that one person that's got to ruin the party for everybody.
Right. And I think a lot of the satanic panic of the 80s and 90s just ruined a lot of things for everybody.
So, while you're in New Orleans, you may be able to witness some of the remnants of the rituals and ceremonies that took place in Congo Square. Congo Square is an area that's located in Armstrong Park in the Treme neighborhood. Congo Square was used as a gathering place of enslaved African Americans to show their traditions and expressions of their culture. There would be drum circles, which I think would be fucking fantastic to see.
Yeah, that sounds...
Spiritual ceremonies performed by hundreds. Congo Square is still a host to its fair share of cultural gatherings. So let me ask you a question. Mm-hmm. When I say voodoo, who comes to mind immediately?
Marie Laveau.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk a little bit about Marie.
Yeah.
She was born in 1794 and lived a long life until her death in 1881. She's buried in St. Louis Cemetery No. 1. I believe you can still visit her grave if you're on like a guided tour.
Yeah, I think there is also you're away from it. You can't get up close to it anymore.
I've personally seen it because we went on a cemetery tour while we were there. People would leave offerings at her tomb. When we went, you could look and you can Google pictures of it too. There, you might see like scratches or marks of 3 X's on her tomb. People would do this in hopes that their wishes would be granted.
Yeah.
Sorry, I lost my spot.
But like, because people were doing that is why it's,
Marie was a devout Catholic and attended Mass at the St. Louis Cathedral and encouraged others to go as well. Her home was in the French Quarter on St. Anne Street, where you can now stay at the inn on St. Anne in the Marie Laveau Annex, where she actually owned the Creole Cottage. People would stop and ask for her help day and night. She was very compassionate. She was a free woman of color who adopted children, fed any who needed a good meal, nursed the sick during the yellow fever pandemic. It's said that she would help enslaved servants and their escapees. She was also a person to go to consult with before making any financial or business related decisions. If you were like a bigwig politician, lawyer, or businessman, can you imagine like some of these bigwig, like white businessmen, politicians coming to her for
right, especially
help.
During that
and
time.
You know they were keeping it on the hush hush.
Yeah.
I can just see like this big ass burly Cajun man. I picture the dad from like the in Princess and the Frog. Her best friend's dad.
Yeah.
In everything that I've ever read about this woman, she was revered as a loving individual that would help anyone. But I can only imagine that if you were to piss her off,
right,
you were looking at some hardship. She could have been a very scary person. And if you've ever seen, which I know you haven't, American Horror Story Coven, kind of, she's played in there. The person that they got to fucking play her was fucking perfect, but gave her a spin of being fucking terrifying if you've crossed her.
Yeah.
She took care of her own, but she was fucking terrified. What is that woman's name that played her? She's also in... I just watched Wakanda Forever last night. She's in it as well. My God, what is her name? Hold on. Angela Bassett. That's it.
Oh, yeah.
She's a fucking goddess.
Yeah.
I love her. She's gorgeous. I found also a story of one of the most famous voodoo kings of New Orleans that I had never heard of. Dr. John, also known as Bayou John, Prince John, Jean Montaigne, Jean Montanet, or Jean Montanet, Jean Grigri, Voodoo John, among many other names.
Many aliases.
Oh, yeah. This man was born and kidnapped as a slave in Senegal, of which he claimed to be prince. He said he was the Prince of Senegal.
Yeah.
I don't know whether this is true. We don't know. He was brought to Cuba. He moved to New Orleans as a cotton roller and became part of the local voodoo family. He became well known as a healer and a fortune teller, where he served those in need out of the house that he bought. He bought it himself, which is a big deal.
Yeah.
Off of Bayou Road. He was also one of Marie Laveau's teachers. So he kind of, brought her to where she was.
Yeah.
But according to some stories, his potions were nothing but water or random boiled herbs. He'd take your fucking money and give you some bullshit.
Shyster.
Yeah. So, like I said earlier, you've always got that one person that ruins the shit for everybody.
Right.
Apparently this motherfucker was that. Voodoo is, I believe, very much alive and well in New Orleans.
Yeah.
I mean, it's evident when you're there. Rituals are mostly private, though. I'm so sure that if you're looking for some help or advice, any of the beautiful people in the local shops or that you might meet in Congo Square would be willing to help. But remember that nothing is for free. There's always a price to be paid. Also keep in mind, and I am a firm believer in, for every new beginning, something else has to die.
Right.
So there's always a price. Just keep that in mind. So if you're going to ask for help, really weigh your options there, because you never know what to expect.
Yeah.
With every birth, there's death. I'm so sure that we're going to revisit voodoo at some point as a whole to dig a little deeper of the ins and outs. But voodoo's a very interesting thing. I've listened to, you've heard me mention Witch Bitch Amateur Hour podcast that I listen to.
Yeah.
They've touched on it a few times. They've talked about gree bags. It's kind of a really interesting thing to look into. It's so much more than, like, you look into different types of craft, be it Wiccan or whatever.
Yeah.
Voodoo is so much more interesting to me.
Yeah, and I feel like there's so much to it.
Yes.
That it's not just cookie cutter.
Right.
And I think a lot of alternate belief systems are like that.
Oh,
where
yeah.
they're so vast and they're not just do this, say this, and this will happen.
Right.
Or,
But yeah, I really, digging into voodoo, I know that my little section was pretty short, but like...
Yeah, and I mean, we, like you said, though, we'll definitely be revisiting that. Because I would like to do a deep dive into Marie Laveau.
Right.
And, her life as a whole.
Oh, yeah, because I just gave you a short snippet of things for her, but it's definitely, there was a ton out there. I could have gone for days on Marie Laveau as a whole. Like, just on her. I could probably do a whole episode on just Marie Laveau.
Yeah. Well.
But, so that's all I've got.
Alright. Well, I've got some, strange spookiness from, the good city of New Orleans to share. Some of it is, giggle worthy. Some of it not so much. But we'll start off with the idea that there are vampires in New Orleans.
I believe. I'm not going to lie to tell you. If they are anywhere, they're in fucking New Orleans.
For sure. And, it's I don't know if anybody's ever read the Sookie Stackhouse books or ever watched the show True Blood that was based in Louisiana.
I watched it.
I read all the books.
I started to rewatch it not too long ago, and then I remembered how shitty acting was.
I've heard that. People who have recently, either rediscovered the show and tried to rewatch it, or they had never seen it before and were like, oh, what's this? And they're like, oh, it's It's not very good. But I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I liked the show. The first go around, I got hella
the books
sucked
are
in.
better.
I'm sure books are always
I'll
better.
always tell you, the book's better.
Books are always better.
It's like Harry Potter. I could go on for days about how much is missing in the movies that was in the books. I mentioned something not too long ago, and Danny goes, I have no idea what you're talking about.
Why are you with him?
I don't know. He doesn't know anything about Harry Potter at all. He's never seen a movie. He's never read a book. Anyway, vampires in New Orleans. So locals believe that the city is actually home to some real vampires. During the 1930s, brothers John and Wayne Carter were executed for committing multiple murders. There were approximately a dozen victims drained of their blood discovered in the brothers' apartment after a bloodied young woman managed to escape. And every so often there are still reported sightings of the brothers as their bodies mysteriously vanished from the family's funeral vault. So are they still wandering the streets of New Orleans?
I mean, hey.
Biting people? And then next, I have the LaLaurie Mansion, which I think also would deserve a
Its
longer.
own fucking...
Yeah, all of mine are very short.
Also, that's in that episode or that season of American Horror Story too. It kind of includes her. It really includes her in the whole situation.
Notorious for being one of America's most haunted buildings due to its gruesome past, where one of the mansion's owners, Marie Delphine McCarty, also known as Madame LaLaurie, tortured and killed many slaves in the mid-1800s. Witnesses to paranormal happenings at the mansion have reported seeing severed limbs, slaves being suspended by the neck, and the bodies of young children. No, thank you. Yeah.
It really was. That whole situation was a fucking gruesome story.
Yeah. And she was...
She was a terrible fucking person.
Yeah. Awful human being. The building is privately owned, so you can't enter the building anymore.
I feel like I saw not too long ago that it's a fucking Airbnb now.
Probably. I don't know. But many local ghost tours stop and tell the grisly tale outside of it. You touched on the next one, the St. Louis cemeteries.
Yeah.
So there's 3 cemeteries. They're 3 labyrinth-like graveyards that date back to the late 18th century. And it's located just a half-mile northwest of Bourbon Street. You can visit the tombs of many of New Orleans icons, but you have to schedule a tour. It's private now. Like, you can't just go in. And one of the most popular grave sites, as we mentioned, is of the famed voodoo queen of New Orleans, Marie Laveau. And many people have claimed to have seen her spirit walking around St. Louis Cemetery No. 1. Which has drawn the attention of many paranormal researchers and is one of the reasons why it's closed to the public without a tour. Let's see.
Are you about to move to a different story?
Yes.
Okay, so just touching on the cemeteries themselves. They're absolutely fucking gorgeous.
Yeah.
And so, like, it's not like headstones and graves, it's tombs.
Yeah.
Because they're below sea level, so it's like...
So a lot of them are stacked.
But the cool thing that we learned is you've got, like, family... what are they called?
Mausoleums?
Yes. They've got, like... And so you've got, like, one square where it'll have 5 or 6 names on it. Because it's like, you know, you'll bury Great Uncle Jean-Claude.
Right.
Or not bury, but you'll put him in there, and then 20, 50, whatever years later, you know, grandma, whoever, passes away. So what they do is they just reopen that tomb, push all of his shit to the back, and then slide her in.
Yeah.
And, you know, it'll just continue on throughout the generations, which I found to be weird, kind of disturbing, but also really kind of cool.
Yeah. And fun fact, in 2010, Nicolas Cage purchased 2 plots in a cemetery to construct one huge pyramid mausoleum.
Nice. We were just talking about Nicolas Cage like last week.
Yeah. He also purchased the LaLaurie Mansion. But I think that was foreclosed on in 2009 after it says tax debacle in the article. But he does still have the tomb in St. Louis Cemetery No. 1. All right. Next, this is one of the weird ones. The Grunch, which I thought was a singular, like, cryptid, whatever.
Like Grunch?
Yes.
Grunch, okay.
Said to be a group of humanoid creatures.
Okay.
The Grunch lurk in the woodlands outside of New Orleans. These nocturnal creatures are believed to look like an albino chupacabra, though many people claim that they look like goat-headed humans with razor-sharp teeth and claws. It is said that the Grunch lures victims from their vehicles with a stray goat that appears to be injured. So, if you take your little trip down to Nolans,
stay out the woods.
If you see a fucking goat, leave it. And
that's fucking relevant. A goat, like, because I mean, you think of like sacrificial shit.
Mm-hmm.
A goat.
Mm-hmm. And the Grunch be sacrificing.
Shit.
The Casket Girls.
Oh, I love this story.
So, the legend of the Casket Girls appeared during the colonization of New Orleans when young French women were sent to the city for marriage arrangements. It is said that these young women who carried coffin-shaped chests resided in the Ursuline convent until they could wed colonists. The chests were kept in the attic of the convent. However, the contents of them mysteriously vanished overnight. Fearing a demonic presence, the nuns had the caskets nailed shut and the attic locked and blessed by the Pope. That must have been serious business.
Right?
The story goes that 2 reporters broke into the attic in 1978. And their decapitated and drained bodies were found the next morning on the staircase of the convent.
Yas.
So don't be breaking into shit.
Yeah.
You could meet your end. Hotel Monteleone. Built in 1886, Hotel Monteleone is a luxurious hotel in New Orleans French Quarter, which I looked up pictures of this place.
Gorgeous.
And it is absolutely gorgeous.
Fucking gorgeous.
Over the years, hotel staff and guests have experienced unexplainable encounters. From a locked restaurant door that manages to open and close itself every night, to elevators stopping at the wrong floor and leading people into dark hallways. It is also believed that the spirit of a toddler named Maurice Begier roams the halls of the hotel.
I'm not here for a toddler ghost.
No, it sounds creepy.
Yeah.
Like, it gives me Pet Sematary vibes.
Ugh. I hate that movie.
I'm not, like, I love scary movies.
I can't do that movie.
Me either. It's the only one that's ever given me nightmares.
I can't do it.
Lafitte's Blacksmith Shop Bar.
Girl. Okay.
I watched a YouTube video about this place. Because it was like one of the companies that does ghost tours in New Orleans. And, like, I actually saw what it looks like. And I was like, man, that place looks cool. Did you ever go there?
I don't think so, but we'll revisit that soon.
Lafitte's Blacksmith Shop Bar is one of Bourbon Street's oldest bars, which I think, according to the video I saw, it is the oldest.
Yes.
And is haunted by the ghost of, it says Jean Lafitte. The French-American pirate built the bar between 1722 and 1732 and operated an illegal smuggling business out of it. Staff of the bar often catch sight of an apparition dressed in period clothing near the fireplace, which, according to the video, you can see his face in the flames.
Yes!
Others have also reported seeing ghostly red eyes in the dark corners of the bar.
Nope.
The bar is also reportedly haunted by the spirit of a young woman who committed suicide on the top floor. Which they did not further elaborate on who this woman is, why she committed suicide, why she chose that bar. If I had to guess, it's probably the classic jilted lover story. And lastly, but not leastly, the only reason why I know how to say this is because it was on Supernatural. The Rougarou.
The Rougarou.
Originating from southern Louisiana, the tale of the Rougarou is often told to young children to prevent them from misbehaving. I have a new hobby. This creature is believed to be a human that transforms into white-colored animals. Variations include wolves, dogs, cattle, or pigs. According to the legend, the Rougarou causes havoc in the streets until an individual kills it. Just before it dies, it becomes human again and warns the killer to not reveal the incident for a year, and failure to do so will cause the individual to become the next Rougarou. Now, while I was writing this, so, I didn't mention this to you prior to this. So my neighbors have a white dog. And this dog just kind of showed up, like, full grown. And as most of their animals do, honestly. But this dog's bark sounds like a human barking like a dog. It is so weird.
You got a fucking Rougarou.
That's what I said. As soon as when I was reading this, I was like, I got a fucking Rougarou next door.
What the fuck?
And like, I don't.
Let's just add that to the repertoire of bullshit that goes on here.
Right. Because there's also, on the other side of me, there's woods. There's like a little street.
There's a fucking.
I have heard, like, singing over in those woods.
Growls.
What sounds like maybe like cries, like a child crying, and I'm just like, you're not luring me into the woods.
There's a fucking skinwalker over there.
So, that's what I have for you this week.
New Orleans be spooky as fuck. But like we've discussed too, I wonder if, okay, so you hear a lot of these stories coming from New Orleans and how haunted it is, and it's one of the most haunted places, and you hear this, but like, and I've mentioned before, they drink a lot of, what is that shit called?
Is it absinthe?
No. The coffee shit.
Oh, chicory.
Chicory. They drink a lot of chicory there, and that's like supposed to be
like fucking wood.
It does, but it's,
and it smells like a campfire.
It's that chicory is part of like the whole dandelion family of plants, and it's like it can be. It's something that's supposed to help you open up your senses, open up your ability to see shit. And I wonder if that shit is just everywhere, and places that don't drink as much of that are not seeing it because they're not drinking the chicory, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I just, you have to wonder about those kind of things.
I mean,
but you walk into New Orleans, and it's like this moment you step foot on New Orleans soil, you're like, ooh, fucking shit. It's just got a whole feel of spooky as hell, but god fucking damn it, I love it.
It's definitely on my bucket list of places.
Like, I'm telling you right now, my perfect day in New Orleans. And I am not a Drury Rainey lover type person, but my perfect day would to be to sit on a fucking balcony, like a second story balcony on, you know, one of the side streets with it raining, maybe some light thunder.
Some light jazz music in the background.
Fuck yes, you knew where I was going with this. With a plate full of fucking beignets and a good fucking drink. Oh my god.
That does sound like
my god.
I
would
feel
never
myself
fucking
relax thinking about
yes, that. I would never fucking leave. Ever fucking leave. Like, just to have, like, street performers, like, ducking under cover somewhere, but still fucking playing some light jazz.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Like...
Yeah, that sounds amazing.
It does. It does. So, we mentioned on the last episode that we're going to start plugging a different nonprofit with every episode to kind of, you know, even if no one donates to it, it's getting the word, you know, getting the word out there, bringing awareness, maybe giving you guys a little something to think about. And we do try and look into these to make sure that they're not coating the pocket of some big wig up in his 20th story penthouse bullshit.
Yeah. Some millionaire's pockets.
Right. So this week I have found local to New Orleans. It's Forum for Equality. This foundation has been alive and well since 1989. It's been at the forefront nearly for every major LGBTQ civil rights victory in Louisiana. Forum for Equality is Louisiana's lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender human rights organization dedicated to the establishment of a society free from discrimination and to the support of good government. They believe that the fastest and most efficient way to achieve goals is through community organization, education, and constructive participation in the political process. So I kind of wanted to plug this one. It's, you know, a nonprofit. They're really out there, and I do believe that the LGBTQ community is kind of a big deal down there. I wish that there were more places that would help people.
I wish we could all just
fucking get along,
live in harmony, and just
let people do what they're gonna do. Let love be love. Let people love who they want to love.
It doesn't affect you,
right?
If you don't want a gay marriage, don't have one,
right? But I think that I can safely speak for both Brittany and I that the LGBTQ plus whatever community is something that we both support.
Yeah.
We're very for it, and we just, because love doesn't have to know gender.
There shouldn't be, I want to say there shouldn't be too many boundaries there should be no boundaries to love, but as long as it's legal,
right,
it's fine.
Right.
It should be fine.
So we will link this in the episode notes. You guys go and help these people out.
Yeah.
Kind of help them get the word out,
or at least like research it, and
right.
If you can't donate, even if you tell somebody else about it, maybe they can donate, or maybe they'll tell somebody who can donate.
Right.
And, you know, it's just a word of mouth chain reaction.
Right. So yeah, that's
look forward to next week. We've got a really exciting episode next week.
I'm so excited about this episode next week because my portion of it is like, I'm so excited.
I had a very fun time linking all of that. So.
It is the next 2 episodes that we're going to record. I kind of got excited about, but we're excited about it, guys. Tune in next week. Look us up on the socials. We have Facebook,
TikTok,
Twitter,
Instagram,
email at wanderersofweird@gmail.com. Share us out. Get the word out. Go like us on all our profiles.
Check out our nonprofit of the week.
Yep.
And
tell your grandma.
Yeah, tell your grandma about us. Have her listen. Show her how to use Spotify.
But just explain to her prior to that we have potty mouths. Me more so than Brittany, because I've
Just
already been yelled at by my
Let
mother.
her know. You kiss your mama with that mouth?
I've already been yelled at by my mama more than once that I say the F word too much. Sorry, it's my favorite word. It's my favorite word.
Dropping the F-bombs, getting in trouble.
She says you have to keep a level of professionalism. The cool thing about a podcast that's, ours is that it can be whatever I want.
As long as I mark it explicit, we're fine.
We say the word we want to say. I love you, Mommy.
Bye.
Bye, guys.